I think the 16 bore could possibly be the biggest waste of time cartridge caliber in the world. And today, Archie, it's your job to try and convince me otherwise.
Gladly. I shoot 16 for all of my game shooting.
Okay.
Absolutely love it. I wouldn't shoot anything else. They carry like a 20 bore, they hit like a 12 bore, and they pattern better than any other cartridge.
Okay.
Full stop. You can shoot beautiful high targets with 26 and 28 gram loads, so your shoulder doesn't feel like it's been kicked around, and they handle like nothing on earth. These 16s, these Perazzis are on dedicated 16 bore action, so it's not like we've just plopped a 16 bore barrels on a 12 bore frame.
Okay.
So they handle as a 16 should, and they're just the most joyous guns to shoot.
Most of the 16s I've shot just hurt, but to be honest, most of them have also been side-by-sides of a bygone era. I've not really shot anything like this, so I'm kind of excited.
Yeah, well, I'm pleased to hear it. It's really, I mean, the ones that we've sold so far, customers have come back saying they've never shot better.
Okay.
So let's give it a go.
What's the worst that could happen?
Johnny likes a 16 bore.
Well... It's an interesting thing, isn't it? Because my big argument would be, nowadays you've got heavyweight 20s that take up to 34 grams and you've got lightweight 12s that take up to 40 odd grams. Maybe there was a place for them back in the day, but I mean, I'm not going to talk. Let's shoot. Go on.
Shoot.
I don't want to have too much egg on my face at the end of this video.
See. Really, it's when he's going to shoot better than he's shot all day.
I mean, those brakes are phenomenal.
Yeah, it just breaks clays so nicely because of the pattern. The 16 bore has what we call a square pattern. So the height of the shot in the cartridge is the same width as the shot. So it has a square pattern, comes out absolutely beautifully.
You know, I could sit here and argue that I think that kind of terminology died out with muzzle loading, the whole square load theory. But I'm not gonna. I'll give it to you on this thing.
You have just broken 90% of the targets we put up.
Yeah, and it does move well. It kicks more than a 12 bore does, because it's lighter. You can't cheat physics.
Yep, absolutely.
It does move well. You can't argue with the way it shoots. Stock spec well as well, to be fair, that helps.
So our standard game spec stock that we put on them. It's something different.
Isn't it just a faff? That's my biggest thing. Surely it's just a faff.
That is the old adage with the 16. A lot of people think cartridges are more expensive, they're more difficult to get hold of, there's no steel, there's no bismuth. What is really exciting now, virtually any gun shop you go to, you can get 16 bore cartridges. You might not have the option of going, right, well I want a Hull high pheasant in this and this, but I haven't been to a gun shop in the last 5 years looking for 16 bore cartridges and not been able to find them. Hull do a big range of loads. They do from a 24 gram 7.5, 26, 28 and 32 gram. They also now do a bismuth load. And in the next couple of weeks to possibly a month, they're bringing out a steel load as well.
Yeah, I did hear that. That's quite exciting.
And
this is steel proofed?
High performance steel shot proofed, yeah. Generally speaking, we'd have them multi-teague choked, but that's completely up to you. They're built on a case-to-case order basis. Obviously, we do have some on the shelf, but any customization that you're wanting done that you can have done on a normal Perazzi, we can do.
So this is my biggest thing. Why? Why should I not buy a 12 bore? Why should I not buy a 20 bore? Why on earth would I go for a 16 over anything else other than to be different? And that's not a not valid excuse, by the way. I own most of my guns because they're weird and different. Because
of the way that they handle. For people who haven't shot one on a regular basis or shot one much before, there's just something almost indescribable about it as to why they are so lovely. There are a lot of 16s that are not great out there. I will definitely, and there's a lot of manufacturers that have in the past put 16 bore barrels on a 20 bore frame, and then it doesn't really work because the action pinches.
Yeah.
And then you've got 16 bore barrels on a 12 bore frame, and that doesn't really work because it just feels like a bit of a crap 12 bore. Because we've developed this on the proper scaled action, it really actually feels like a 16 should. It handles like a 16 should. It's really natural. There's no problems with action pinching or the gun feeling clumpy and lunky. But we're seeing more and more people now who like that fact that it's something different. They don't want to be the person in the line who's got the fifth person in the line with a EELL or a Browning. They want something a little bit different.
Yeah, I think I would like to shoot it a bit more, but you can have it. This is actually a really nice gun.
Yeah.
If you told me it was a 12 bore, I'd say this was amazing.
Yeah.
Unbelievably diverse in the way it shoots. Like that big, what's that, 45 yard, 50 yard crosser?
Yeah, something like that.
You're putting a good 8 to 10 foot of lead on it from my perspective. You can just put the gun exactly where it needs to be, bang. This A button, you cut across, bang, you can push it. It's very versatile. I really hate you. I think it's important that I state at this point, I think that regardless of how I feel about this gun, which is kind of good, it's much easier, I'm backpedaling here, to find a good quality 12 bore than it is a good quality 16.
Agreed. No, I mean there's far more 12 bores on the market than there are 16s. But if you're looking for a 16 and looking to spend a little bit more money, then I think this has got to be the nicest option there is out there. And the search for perfection is not an easy one.
Unbelievably easy gun to shoot. No. That's why 12 bores are better. I would have broken those if this was a 12 bore.
Yeah, sure. Like you have done with the other stuff earlier today.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it does demand to be treated well.
Yeah.
That's something, there's not much room for acting a fool with it.
No, there isn't. But that's kind of, that's equally quite nice. You just sort of know that.
Yeah, it's not the margin for error is less, but the margin for bad technique is less forgiving for sure.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But I mean, because they pattern so well, if it's put in the right place, then you're going to get a very clean kill. But if it's not, then you're going to be quite a long way off.
It's the small gauge theory, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Generally speaking, all small gauges are a bit more that way.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, when they're choked quite tightly like this one is, then obviously that has an impact as well.
I don't want to give you the win, mate. I still think 16 bores suck, but this one's an exception to the rule.
Okay, yeah. I mean,
I don't even know. I'm just being a pedant at this point.
Yeah, I was slightly going to say, you can't admit that you're wrong.
Look, I've spent many years with my other half, and she's taught me that very quality trait. I can never be wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Stubbornness. I love it. I genuinely love it. It's one of the best, easiest shooting guns I've shot in a long time.
Good.
Yeah, you can't act a fool with it, and yeah, you need to shoot things in the right method, in the right place, but I think generally speaking that's what you should be doing with most guns anyway.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
It's a rare thing to find a gun that you can go, I'm going to shoot you off the trap arm, bang.
Yeah.
It's a rare thing to find those guns, and when you do, you should definitely buy them.
Yeah.
But given that most people don't go out to be an idiot, they probably go out to not waste shots and actually practice and actually shoot game correctly. Let's see what you
Johnny
got.
Carter 16 bore convert.
No. So potentially, I'm not surprised that a really nicely spec'd gun shoots nicely. And maybe I have to swallow my pride and say that 16 bores can be nice, which I kind of knew anyway, right? Let's have a quick look over what we've got here. I've rated Sportarm's racks, and we have a couple of more beautiful versions, and this, which I still think is a stunning gun, the MX-16 that we shot earlier. This particular one has upgraded wood. If you have it as standard, it's 15,500, comes with plainer wood. The wood upgrade, I think, is worth it, and that is about a £3,000 upgrade. It's a tough one to quantify that a piece of wood's worth 3,000. When you're looking at a boring piece of wood for the rest of your life, you'll probably have wished that you'd spent it, I think. And I'm going to say in this instance, it's the nice wood that made me shoot it straight. Potentially. The gun weighs in at 7 pounds 7. If you looked at a 32-inch 12 bore, this being a 32-inch 16 bore, you'd be looking more around the £8, just over £8 mark. So it's a half pound saving. That really isn't that bad. That weight is saved all the way through the gun because the stock is scaled down, and that's because the headwork's scaled down, because the action is scaled down, and the tubes are obviously smaller tubes than a 12 bore. The action is actually scaled down 5mm. That's 5mm narrower than an MX-12. That's more than I thought. They really have squeezed every millimetre out of this gun to bring it down to be as sleek and svelte as possible, and you expect nothing less from Perazzi, obviously. They are makers of some of the best guns in the world. The stock spec is kind of irrelevant because, well, every stock is custom made to your measurements when you order one of these. And here's the real crux is that the MX16, the true scale 16 bore action, is exclusive to Sportarm in the UK, which is why I'm here, to check one out. They are steel proofed, which is kind of important. And you can order the barrels, because it's a Perazzi, by the centimetre. So why do they work in centimetres? I mean, I work in centimetres half the time. It really is confusing, but you can order it anywhere from 32 inch down to probably 24 inch if you wanted, and then 1 centimetre increments in between. So this particular one isn't actually steel proof. This one is fixed full and 3/4. That's because if it's a stock gun here, obviously they're going to want to have the option to relieve the chokes or have it TIG choke to your specification, then have it steel proof thereafter. I mean, Perazzi do full choke steel proofing on their 12 gauges. Why you'd want that, I don't particularly know. Steel doesn't love choke at all. Certainly from what we've discovered over the years, less is definitely more. I think this is quite nice. Every gun comes into the country ordered from these guys has the option to be London finished, like this one, or can be done in the Perazzi factory finish if you prefer, but why you wouldn't want it done to really accentuate the wood, I don't know. They're all balanced to your specification in the country. This one is actually surprisingly front heavy, but the proof's in the pudding, it's shot fantastically, so we're not going to say that that's a bad thing. Mid-weight guns are fine, sometimes. But like I said, proof's in the pudding, it's shot fantastically. There are tons of optional extras when it comes to like customizing your gun for you. I really don't hate just the plain black action with some fancy wood with your measurements. I've always thought that's a real classy way of doing things, because actually it's like a sleeper car, isn't it? It won't look so flash, the wood will be nice, and it will fit you perfectly. Those are the important things. But if you want something a little extra, they do an SC3 and an SCOC, the SC3 being the same grade wood that's on this one, but generally it is an upgrade. And a nice acanthus scroll engraving. Nothing too flashy, but you know, it's just a nice adornment to the action. I quite like it. I think I prefer the black action. I don't know why. But out of the three, I definitely prefer this. So if this is 15.5 with plain wood, or 18.5 with fancy wood, this is 19,200 with SC3 wood and SC3 engraving. And this, which is a full side plate hand engraved case color hardened true 16 bore, that's a mouthful, is about 40,000. This is a very adult looking gun. I presume at that kind of level you could vary it from the standard rose and scroll, you could have a little bit of custom, you could have a little bit of whatever you wanted on there. And it does look absolutely stunning, I must admit. What's quite nice is you can order any of the Perazzi engravings to go on your MX16 that you would have on your standard 12 bore actions, and they do offer that to a certain extent in the 20s, and I do like the fact that they're a condensed action or a condensed engraving pattern. Usually it just looks a little bit more detailed. I do prefer like something as basic as a EELL. I think the 20 bore looks better than the 12. Same with the Browning Heritage. A lot of these more basic guns, because it's squished down, it just looks a bit better. I think that this actually looks better line-wise than the 12. I'm actually sounding like a 16 bore fan. That's not really the point, is it? I remember making a 16 bore video, 16 bores explained, I don't know, 4 years ago. And I feigned positivity about them then. But I do, oh, she's a real buggy, you know. That gun has got under my skin. Guys, I can't say I've particularly enjoyed eating as much humble pie as I have today. 16 bores can be very, very, very nice indeed. You know, I can't see a point in the near future that I will be moving to 16. I'm just too much of a yob. But one day in the future, when I grow up and I develop some taste and style, hey, maybe that will be the time to change. Thank you for watching, guys. This channel is made possible by our amazing sponsors. You can find out more about them in the description down below. And if you want to support the channel, you can join as a member. You get loads of extra content, well, some extra content, and occasionally we hook up and go clay shooting together as a membership group. If you don't feel like joining today, we really appreciate you watching and subscribing. Have a wonderful day.